And we'll record the presentation if that's okay with you all, and then post it on our website.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So good morning, everybody. I'm so delighted to be here. I met Laura, crazy enough, at Election Day, and she came out and took a little tour with me. So Laura, I thank you so much for the opportunity to introduce us to this group and to share with you all today. So I just wanted to say that ahead of time. It really is an honor to be with you all. We're going to present a few slides, and I have my team with me today, so it's not just going to be all me talking. We've kind of divided them up in our expertise, and so I just want to say we are a nonprofit, a 501c3. We are all volunteers. Most of us are retired. A few of us are still working, but we are not paid. This is all volunteer work and a labor of love because we care about the environment. So just to introduce the beginning, Preserve Rural Durham, we became a nonprofit maybe almost 2 years ago and have worked incredibly hard just trying to save the environment in Southeast Durham, which is facing a lot of development, which you're going to see today. My name is Pam Andrews. I'm a retired school teacher here in Durham, and just so blessed to have a lot of great people on my team, as you're going to hear today, from people that have scientific backgrounds to retired DOT employees, Corps of Engineers employees, Health Department employees that just really jumped on this bandwagon with me and really tried to stand up for the environment. So our mission statement is very clear. We conserve and protect our natural resources and wildlife. So I love the wildlife person. I want to talk with you. Establish countywide sustainable development practices, because the practices out here are just not sustainable. They're just really damaging the environment. And then improve existing infrastructure before building new homes. Our infrastructure out here, as you're going to see just a tiny bit of today, is really not very good. Very, very big holes in our infrastructure out here. All right, next slide. So Laura asked me when we were talking back and forth, these are things that we kind of wanted to hit on today. The community concerns, as we developed over the last 2 years, the concerns have really built. Number one, sustainable development. We are not against development, contrary to what people say about us. We are not. We just want it to be sustainable, environmentally friendly development, and not damaging our ecosystems that we've seen time and time again. The environmental things we're certainly concerned about are creeks, particularly Lick Creek has got a lot of attention out here. Little Lick Creek, Panther Creek, LB Creek, but we have really stood up the most for Lick Creek, as you're going to see. Wildlife habitats are just, we have had thousands of acres destroyed in Southeast Durham. Very concerned about the wildlife. Turbidity in our waters, which we're going to speak on today. Well water quality, because a lot of us are on wells out here. Septic systems that have been damaged or destroyed, air and noise pollution, which we're going to touch on, blasting impacts. Blasting is a big deal out here in Southeast Durham. And again, as I mentioned, the infrastructure is just lacking. We do not, hospital beds in Durham total is about 1,400. And you're going to see the massive amount of growth in Southeast Durham. It's just not adequate. EMS supplies. We all have heard stories of how no EMS around. Fire station issues, police, sheriff issues, roads, big one, roads, schools, and such. There's some of the topics that have really come up in the last 2 years with Preserve Rural Durham monitoring very heavily. All right, next slide. I want to just touch on this today. Our buzzword is Samantha Crop, which is our golden girl. We love her. She's our representative for the Neuse River and for Sound Rivers. She has been a godsend to Southeast Durham. I mean, she is just amazing. But the buzzword now is Triassic Basin soil, if you live in our area. A lot of people never heard of Triassic Basin soil until we got involved. But Preserve Rural Durham, that has become one of our big topics of conversation. Most people don't realize, the one thing that people realize is that Southeast Durham has a very unique soil called Triassic Basin soil. Durham has more Triassic Basin soil than any other county in the state. Once these fine clay particles enter the waterway, they are suspended for days, sometimes even weeks. This soil is very easily erodible. Of the three types of soil that we have, sand, silt, and clay, our basic types of soil, clay, most unbeknownst to many people, is the smallest of the three. And those clay particles can be anywhere from 0.002 of a millimeter in size. They don't fall out of suspension very easily. And that has become a huge problem here in Southeast Durham. So I'm going to pass it off to my next presenter, which is Tammy Sawaya.
Great, thanks, Pam. Before I continue on with this slide, I really would ask that you really think about the numbers and the things that I'm about to say here. Personally, I feel like Durham is in crisis, especially in our area. The environmental justice, the risk that we're putting on the current citizens, including all of us, is very great. So the slide here, you'll see the map of Durham and our area in Southeast Durham. Preserve World Durham has been tracking development in our area. And right now we're over 16,000 new dwellings just in our area. And with everything in the pipeline to be developed out here, we're looking at 20,000 dwellings. And to put that in perspective, 20,000 dwellings translates to about 46,000 population growth, 46,000. Rocky Mount has a population of 54,000. So think about that. Just in our area, we have 46,000 more people in addition to what we have now coming to our area. Now, I'd like to draw your attention to the middle table where you'll see the urban growth boundary. We have the capacity of 150,000 dwelling units. In Durham's comprehensive plan that we just passed, there's a statement that Durham will need 60,000 units by 2050. So when I saw that number, I went to our planning department and I said, where are we in this growth? And my response was, well, we really don't know. We really don't have a good tally. I'm a financial analyst by heart. That didn't settle well with me. So I went back to our planning department and asked, well, what year does that estimate start? And the planning department said it started by 2020. So from 2020 to 2050, they're saying we need 60,000 dwelling units. If you break that down into 10-year increments, so from 2020 to 2030, we need 20,000 units. As you'll see, in Southeast Durham, we could be at 20,000 here. I personally went to city councils every meeting annexation, and I've added on to the total Durham growth of units from 2020 to now, and we have approved 25,000 units. 25,000 units, and we only need 20,000 within the 10-year period. So let that sink in. And then also data point I want to share with you is that the North Carolina Office of State and Budget Management does a population estimate growth for the next 10 years. So their estimated growth for Durham from 2020 to 2030 is 44,000. We have enough dwellings to supply 58,000. So you have to ask yourself, why are we building beyond what we need in the next 10 years so quickly? Next slide, please. Oops. This is a visual. I love this map. And Pam Ricks did this map. I have to give her kudos. This is a visual, if you're a visual person, of our little area, and all the red dots is where development is now under construction. People that live out here have no idea what's coming, because if you look at how many that's under construction, and the green dots is where Durham City was collecting data on the water. Just to note. Next slide, please. Here is a list, a detailed list, like I said, we track it, of approved developments under construction right now. And I'd like to also point out, in totality here, there were about 3,000 units approved even before 2020, if you look at the list in the table to the left. Next slide, please. And here are the approved developments that haven't even started construction. So just to keep those numbers and that amount in mind as we go through the environmental issues and the infrastructure issues. So now I'll pass it along to my next colleague.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tom Freeman. Just for a moment, just refer back to the Lick Creek Basin that Tammy mentioned. What you're seeing in the center of the screen is Lick Creek, and this is the extremely heavy sediment load that Lick Creek is carrying. Now, from this point, I've got about 4 slides, and they all tell a similar story of the destruction of Lick Creek. I draw your attention to the upper part of the screen, which is labeled the Little Lick Creek, and that's the next area of imminent destruction from Durham County. You'll see Falls Lake proper, and Lick Creek is part of Falls Lake. It's one of the major Durham tributaries into Falls Lake. This aerial photography was taken very recently on January 17th, 2040. Next slide, please. 2024, excuse me. Next slide, please. Okay, again, Lick Creek is in the center left, the Falls Lake Marina, and you see the outfall of the sediment. That's just that suspended material that's suspended in the water that's beginning to fall out of suspension, into Falls Lake. As you might well imagine, the Lick Creek is being filled with sediment that is running off of construction sites in Durham County. One of the primary purposes that Congress authorized Falls Lake for was for flood storage capacity. And as Lick Creek and Falls Lake fills with sediment, its ability to store flood water is seriously diminished. Again, you can see the edge of the plume as it's falling out into Falls Lake. Next slide, please. Well, we've been telling our friends, city governments, Durham City Council, city leaders, Durham County government, their leaders, that we know there's a problem. And I draw your attention to the lower left quadrant, which identifies Lick Creek, and you can see the brown sediment. Getting back to my point, we've told the city, we've told the county, told our neighbors. Now the world can see from a shot of Google Earth back in 4/18/23. You can't hide this. The devastation to Lick Creek, it's ongoing. And again, our fear is that it will spread to other creeks from Durham County as the development spreads to Lick Creek, Panther Creek, and other bodies of water of tributaries into Falls Lake. Can't hide it. Next slide, please. Okay, just wrapping up and draw your attention to the tomato soup. It's a term that we have coined to descriptively identify what's going on. It's about the most palatable reference that we could make to this disgusting environmental disaster. And again, you can see it from the lower left of your screen. That's NC 98 flowing into Falls Lake. What you don't see is what Tammy stated in her slides about all of the development upstream. Now, from this point at NC 98, the most active construction is 4 to 5 miles away. And this is the impact that we see at the lake itself. The creek itself from NC 98 moving upwards is significantly compromised with the muck and silt that now fills the once healthy creek. All right, thank you very much. That concludes my slides.
Thanks, Tom. I'm Tina Motley Pearson, and on March 16th of this year, Samantha Kropp organized a walk on Lick Creek. And so a lot of us signed up to go on this walk with her, and they gave us waders. And you can see all the sediment coming into Martin Branch. And this is from a development. But what a difference, right? You've got, mostly clear water, and it's just so obvious sediment coming off of this development into Martin Branch. Next slide, please. So sediment pollution, like many of you already know, what, the damage of sediment pollution. It degrades aquatic habitat, it clogs fish gills, it suffocates aquatic creatures, it blocks sunlight that's needed by plant life, and it increases the water temperature. And it's just so obvious. And when you go walk out there, you do not see little creatures everywhere. You just don't, especially where the sediment is so heavy. Next slide, please. And one of the issues is that, if you have these detention ponds, the developers will pump the sediment directly into the creeks and streams, which it seems like they should have violations on this, but nobody was given violations. We're just some of the people on our team are just taking pictures and sending it in because it's bizarre that they wouldn't get in trouble for this, but they'll just pump this nasty sediment laden water directly to the creeks. Next slide, please. So the state standard for turbidity, it's measured in NTUs, and the state standard specifically is 50 NTU. So Martin Branch, which is that creek that we saw in the very beginning, it's over 2,000, and the state standard is 50. That is over 2,000. Clearly, a violation. And if you compare an unimpacted stream to an impacted stream, that is huge. An unimpacted stream, Rocky Branch, and that's the city sample site, the most that they have had is 28.4 compared to 2,000. So it is such a tremendous difference. And these Triassic soils, you mass grade and blast these Triassic soils, and it is just a disaster. I mean, you can't build the same on every soil type, right? Like you would build differently at the beach than you would, on other land. So it should be taken into consideration. The soil type and the slopes and all that should be taken into consideration. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
All right, this particular slide, we borrowed from a UNC collaboratory report that was just released in December of 2023. What a powerful slide. It describes the Clean Water Act of 1972. It is a federal policy that measures water quality in those that are considered impaired. So if you look at this and you were to zoom in on your computer, you will see the creeks that are in our Southeast Durham: Lick Creek, Little Lick Creek, Ellaby Creek, and even in the middle there, Panther Creek. They're all in red. Panther Creek is not as disturbed upstream, but it's coming because that area of Durham is now being developed. And they're seeing tremendous differences already. But you can look at Little Lick Creek and Lick Creek, they're already in red, which means they are seriously impaired. A lot of red, not a good thing. Next slide. So, as I mentioned before, Samantha Kropp with Sound Rivers got involved with us almost a year and a half, almost 2 years actually, and started taking measurements on turbidity out here. She worked with Southern Environmental Law Center, and they filed a notification of a 60-day notice of intent to sue back in May of 2023. That was against Sue Clayton. They were suing Clayton Homes, also known as Mungo Homes, for violating the Clean Water Act. Numerous neighbors are also listed in this case, along with Sound Rivers. We are so indebted to Samantha Crop for her many hours of service to our waterway. She says she spends more hours here than any other part of the Neuse River. And so Tina just showed you some of the data that Samantha had collected. Next slide, please. So in September of 2023, the lawsuit was officially filed. It is still pending. It has not gone away. And recently, this article on the right by News and Observer was just released a few weeks ago that stated, it has raised the environmental watchdog Sound Rivers and got lawsuing Mungo Homes on claims that it is violating the Clean Water Act by failing to follow sediment control plans in the area's 22.9-mile Lick Creek watershed. Sound Rivers and the Environmental Law Center are suing Clayton Property Group, alleging the development in Southeast Durham is resulting in significant sediment pollution to nearby waterways. The Sweetbriar development is allegedly sending sediment into Martin Branch, is what is quoted in the article. The case filed last September does not challenge the project's construction, but it aims at focusing on clogging of the local creeks, which are harmful pollution. In November, Mungo Homes filed a motion to dismiss, but the lawsuit is not dismissed. It remains in court. So just wanted to update, it is an ongoing lawsuit against Clayton Homes. All right, so next we have our next presenter.
Buffers. Buffers, the definition is a portion of property designated to mitigate impacts between land uses or transportation routes or to protect water features from pollutants. There are several different buffers in our UDO, and there may be even more than the ones I've got listed. Stream buffers, boundary perimeter buffers, roadway buffers, and wetland buffers. In the picture on the right, imagine what the homeowner for the single family home on the right thought when they were told that they would be getting a 20-foot buffer with 0.4 opacity. They thought it was undisturbed and didn't understand what a 0.4 opacity was, and that the townhome would be 20 feet from the property line. That is the 04 opacity 3 years after it was put in. Stream buffers. Stream buffers are perennial streams use perennial stream buffers for perennial streams per our UDO in the protected watershed is 100 feet. As I and many other homeowners quickly found out, this doesn't mean 100 feet of mature natural trees left along the stream or undisturbed land. State law requires a 50-foot buffer, so Durham is doing better. However, developers still can still grade and remove all natural vegetation and trees up to 30 feet from the stream top of bank. They can put sediment basins in the buffers, utilities such as sewer, retaining walls, drainage ditches, paved trails, greenways, etc. The picture with the orange or red silk fence there, that's the tree protection fence. That is 30 feet from the top of bank. And here they cleared through the buffer for sewer. Here's another sewer easement that's been cleared. Here, this is the stream, and the sediment pond that they're building is 40 feet. The slope stake is 40 feet from the stream, plus all this is wetlands, and the sediment pond encroached in the wetlands. They had to get a variance for it, which they did to encroach into the wetlands. This picture right here, all this green was supposed to be buffered and all, but as you can see, the sewer line comes through, a ditch line comes through. It was supposed to have a 100-foot buffer, and all these trees, mature trees, are being taken out. And you know, they got a variance for this so they could build 5 more homes and a 600 home subdivision. Boundary buffers. Boundary buffers up to recently could clear up to the property line as shown in these pictures. The new tree preservation now requires a 10-foot undisturbed strip which is included in a 30-foot buffer. Mass grading is 4 acres or more. However, loopholes depending on the type of development, what's next to it, which provides new, and it's difficult to follow. I'm an engineer. I design highways. I read rules and ordinances and design criteria, and it is very difficult to figure out what is what. Here, they grade it right up to that's a garage. Here, they graded up to the property line. They had a sediment basin here until they started doing their final construction. And now they've got a retaining wall right here. Here's the house. This one, property line, they cleared up to the property line. And here's a drainage ditch up to the property line. Where's the opacity there? This one right here is so detrimental. They cut up to his property line. His property line is where the orange fence is on the property line. They went down, you can't really tell it here, but they went down 20 feet so they could build a 15-foot retaining wall right on his property line. Because this silt fence, this is the same property, because this silt fence kept failing, they moved the silt fence or added a silt fence 5 feet on the man's property. So this is on his property, 5 feet from his property line. They built a retaining wall that's about 10 feet from the property line, and there will not be any trees planted in here or shrubs due to it being so close to the retaining wall. Roadway buffers. Being an engineer and designing roadways for a long time, you wonder, why is she talking about this? Well, this is all in my neighborhood, and I grew up on these roads and go down these roads, from forever. Roadway buffers or setbacks. Our roadways in Durham County were beautiful with lime trees and everyone having large trees in front and backyards. Our roadways have been destroyed with minimum setback or boundary. Fences and very little planting that would take 20 years to provide shade. This creates the heat islands we have all heard about. The tiny trees between the road and the townhouse, 20 years, will encroach on the balcony right here on the low right-hand corner for these townhomes. Sharon Road has 12 to 25,000 vehicles per day and was once in the comprehensive transportation plan for a 4-lane roadway. It isn't in the transportation plan anymore. Our MPOs have taken it out, but the city continues to approve high density homes on this roadway. I don't know where they're going to widen the road or what this land across here is up for approval now. As you can see, this development is about 10, 15 years old, but look at the fences they put for the opacity. They're failing and they're not being replaced. This one just finished construction and everything. This is our opacity along Doc Nichols. This again is up the street from that same one. This is the screening and the landscaping. There's a foot between the fence and the sidewalk. We don't need more fencing. We need more landscaping. Wetlands. Wetlands are very important for our ecology. However, the buffer is only 25 feet. I assume it is so small because the wetlands are supposed to help filter the pollution. How can wetlands do their job if developments are putting sediment basins in the wetlands, eliminating wetlands, or as in the transit soil, the runoff turbidity is so bad that it smothers the plant and kills the invertebrates. This right here, this stream flows into Lick Creek. This is part of the sediment basin where they cleared into the wetland. They had to get a variance for it. They got a variance for it. Originally, this land, as shown in the development plans, was supposed to be tree preservation, but in the site plans, it came out as being cleared. So you can imagine the homeowners who thought they were going to maintain the trees back here between their property and the stream, and then they come in, clear it, blast it, and also take away acres of wetlands.
Pam.
Okay.
They've asked us to kind of wrap it up, so we're going to just go through just going to flip to these last slides because they have asked us to kind of wrap it up so people can ask questions. So I just want to show you guys very quickly these last few slides. Here's mass grading. This is what it looks like out here. This is what is causing our creeks to look like tomato soup. Next slide. Again, another angle. You can see, you guys can read these slides later, but this is kind of the erosion that we're having. This is highly erodible soil, and it's flowing right into our creeks, which are a very short distance away. Next slide. This one, again, just another article that you can reference. Next slide. Blasting has been a serious issue out here, blasting up against people's homes. We have lots of videos on our YouTube channel that you can look at. Very, very serious. You can flip to, go ahead and Pam, the next ones. They'll show, these next ones just show you where people's homes have been damaged. Keep going, Pam. With sediment flowing back into their septic systems destroyed. The next one, Pam. Cracked walls in people's homes, and the blasters are taking zero responsibility, nor the developers. Next slide. Again, it's terrible. Air and noise pollution, I want to say very quickly, Bonita Green, you are a godsend, because Bonita hooked us up with Clean Air North Carolina, and we now do have some monitors in Southeast Durham picking up the pollution of the air. We do not have any noise pollution monitors at this time. Next one. Air blast, there's a great article. I encourage you to go look at this article, watch it. You will see how these powerful blasts send off airwaves that destroys people's homes and property. Next slide. Again, people have hired private engineers to actually prove that they had damage done by these companies. And lastly, how can you get involved? These are just suggestions. We encourage you to please reach out. We would love to take you on tours or meet with you. All right, that'll do it for today. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. I guess we can take one or two brief questions. We really need to move on to announcements and whatnot, but are there any brief questions? I actually do have a question. I don't think it's brief, but I'm just interested. I don't know who it was, but somebody mentioned environmental justice, and I just don't know what they were referring to in all of this.
There is a map that's on one of Tammy's first slides that does show the environmental justice going on in our area. It was actually written by Ryan Eves with the Stormwater Department. There is an article that's out that I could forward if you want to read the whole article. But there is a map. It's on Tammy's first slide or second slide that does show that map.
Okay, that would be great if you could forward that. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks so much for all of
Marsha, I just have a quick question for Pam. And I don't know, I think this was in your area, but I'm not sure. But I read a report very recently about blasting where a rock or something penetrated a roof, a homeowner's roof. Was that in your area?
There was one done out here on Page Road a couple years ago. The most recent one where the rock went through the roof happened just on the Wake County line. And I can forward you that link as well. Our blast page in here shows you all of our links if you want to get in touch with us. Facebook, YouTube, whatever. But at any rate, yes, Bonita, that is a true case.
Okay. Thanks so much. Sorry we ran out of time, but appreciate all the work that went into this presentation and all of y'all coming to share all this information with us. You can see there's a lot of interest here. So yeah, and Tanya's saying that we can also share post the PowerPoint itself on the website if you want to do that. And that might be a good idea since you get to go through everything. Okay, so we're going to move on to announcements and just see if there's checking on if there are any other issues that people are tracking that they want to note. First announcement for the DEC is that we are planning to have the May meeting be in person. We're still working out the details. Tanya, are you still here? It's Tanya.
Yes, I'm here, and I have not confirmed the ability to use Merrickmore Park yet for that.
Okay. We're
Monday.
hoping to have it. We're hoping to have it there, but we need to kind of. We don't have a means for paying the the fee. So we're trying to work with the city to get that set up. So, and I will be, as we did last year, I'll be posting a spreadsheet. If people want to say what they plan to bring, it's going to be a lunch potluck, 11 o'clock our normal time, hopefully at Merrittmore. We'll confirm all this and send out an email. Merrittmore Park, sorry. But people are free to show up without food, show up with something that you didn't say you were going to bring, whatever. We don't want it to be an issue, just easy, but sometimes people want to kind of say, this is what I plan to bring, if you know. And Keep Durham Beautiful is going to supply paper goods, I believe. I'll have that in front of me.
How
Anyway,
much was the fee, Marcia? This is Jessica. How much was the fee for the rental?
I think it was $80. I'm not sure.
And
and
you're
it-
just having trouble making the transfer, or you need the $80?
Tanya was hoping that because of the structure of organization that the city would waive that. If we
Okay.
have to pay it, we don't have, because we're an informal organization, we don't have a mechanism or
Right.
funds for paying for something like that.
Right,
So-
okay, well, Eno could help, Eno could do it, so
Okay.
don't let that be the impediment. We
Great.
want to support this group meeting, and if I can do that for you, then let me do that for you.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so we'll have it at Merrittmore Park, and hopefully Tanya can talk to the city about the fee, and if not, we would thank the Eno River Association very much for supporting that. So I will send that the location out in email and the spreadsheet for people to indicate what they want to bring, and we won't have a presentation, same as we did last year. People will just be sharing information. Benita has graciously agreed to lead the meeting. She's still able to be there. We haven't talked in a while, so that's the plan.
It's on my calendar. I have
Great.
that reserved. I
Great.
just want to ask really quick, Tanya, have you spoken to Wade?
No,
Directly?
we haven't. No.
I'll call him.
Okay.
Let me call him, yeah.
Okay, any other announcements? Feel free to put something in the chat or anything else.
I just want to speak real quickly, if I can.
Sure.
I want to just put it out there early to all of y'all who partnered with the Bradtown Community Association. We have our Juneteenth event on June 15th, which is that Saturday. It will be from 2 to 8. I'm hoping that all of y'all will come out. If you want to set up a table where you're giving away free information about your organization or program, we would like for you to know that you can set up for free. If you plan on selling anything, it's a $60 fee, and that money would go through our online portal with Reinvestment Partners. Also, Benita of Merrittmore is partnering with us on our Juneteenth event. I'm still trying to work out some things, but if y'all have my email, just reach out to me to let me know that you do want to be a part of it. The time frame is from 2 to 8 that evening. We're asking that everybody be set up on the park grounds by 1, so that we can have everybody out of the parking lot, so that we can have the food trucks parked in the parking lot itself. So I'm doing a lot of work and wanting to make sure all of y'all are in the space if you can be there. And we also plan to have food vendors as well as people who want to sell other items at the event. And we're also looking for volunteers to work from that opening to the closing of the event time. So if you just want to volunteer, we'd love to have you as a volunteer. Thank y'all.
Terrific. We have a lot of stuff being posted, so maybe Dawn and Tanya, if you could leave the screen open to make sure everybody's got a chance to get these links in. But I do want to mention something that's near and dear to my heart. Not that I'm biased or anything, but it is with Deep. Laura posted something from Deep, which is has been our wonderful training partner, and they are doing where is it? I've lost it. There's so much stuff in here now. Anyway, they're doing a session at the North Carolina Museum of Art on identity and birding. So yeah, really important to make sure that this wonderful thing, that's wonderful activity that also is important, so important to saving our world, is accessible to all people. Okay. Any
Marcia?
Yeah.
On that note, I just want to let everyone know that New Hope Audubon Society the board has decided to drop Audubon from the name. So we'll have a membership vote on May 2nd, and our new name hopefully will be New Hope Bird Alliance.
Thank you, Barbara. There's a lot of detailed information on the New Hope Audubon Society, newhopeaudubon.org website about this whole issue of the name and John James Audubon and his racist legacy, and why a lot of organizations are changing their name. So encourage people to look at that. Any other issues or things for the DEC that you'd like the committee to consider, or we don't have a presentation scheduled yet for June, but we'll be working on that. So if you have anybody, also, if one of the an organization that's like, I won't say member because we don't have members, but if one of you all have something about your organization, something specific that you want to present, that's always an option for the presentation time. So okay, there's the details about the Juneteenth event. Great. At Lakeview Park. Thank you, Vanessa. And Vanessa, if you want to send an email out to the DEC with some description, that might be a good idea too. People know what's going on.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay.
I'll just share like really quickly, because Merritt-Moore decided not to do Juneteenth this year because there was so many events that we didn't want to compete. So we're going to support Bragtown, but we will be doing something for the 4th of July.
Terrific. Okay, unfortunately, I will not see y'all in May. I'm going to be out of town. I'll also be out of town July 4th. However, I look forward to seeing y'all in June. And yeah, that's it. Get outside. Oh, yeah, be careful today, this afternoon. Don't look directly at the sun. We got that eclipse, even though we're not in totality. It's still dangerous. So very exciting. I'm gonna go see if I can see what the birds are doing. Okay. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Have a good day.
Thank you for allowing us to attend. Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much for joining us and presenting. And I think if you send Laura I think Laura did share your presentation, but if you've had any changes or want to send an update, you can do that. And then we'll also post the recording to the website as well. Thank you
Thanks.
so much.